Okay guys, today we're going to talk about adding decimals and multiplying decimals. Adding and multiplying. So this is the foldable that you got in class today. What you're going to do is you're going to take it and you're going to fold it halfway into the middle and do the same with the other side. We're going to do subtracting and dividing decimals tomorrow. So today we're only going to focus on adding decimals and multiplying decimals. And remember, this dot is a way to say multiply. You also have our traditional X or parentheses. Okay, so those are all ways to say multiply. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this up, and we're going to start up at the top with adding decimals. So these are our steps we're going to follow over here. So first things first, we are going to line up the decimals. Line up the decimals. It's very important when you're adding and subtracting decimals that you line up the decimals. So line them up. Okay, so let's do that over here. Let's line them up. 9.8 plus, I'm going to line up my decimals, 2.12. Okay, it says then add as with whole numbers. You may have to write zeros as placeholders. So what that means is over here, I'm going to add a 0 as a placeholder. It doesn't change the value of 9.8. 9.8 and 9.80 are still the same thing. Okay, so now we're just going to bring down the decimal point. So bring it straight down to our answer. That way we don't forget where it goes. And now we're going to add like normal. 0 plus 2 is 2. 8 plus 1 is 9. And 9 plus 2 is 11. So 11.92 is our answer. And I know this is a review from last year or maybe even the year before. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about is multiplying decimals. Okay, so the steps that we follow for multiplying decimals, you're going to multiply as you would multiply whole numbers. Okay, so basically what that's saying is we're going to look at these two numbers like a decimal point doesn't exist. Okay, and we're going to line them up. 1.159 times, remember when you're multiplying when you're just multiplying in general, you want to push the second number as far right as possible. So I've got 0.03. Okay, that second number needs to go as far to the right as possible. Notice that you do not have to line up your decimals when you're multiplying, only when you're adding or subtracting. Okay, so you do not have to line up the decimal points. Let's put that. You do not have to line up the decimals. C-I-M-A-L-S. Sorry. The decimals. You do not have to line up the decimals. You do on adding, but not on multiplying. Okay, so we're going to multiply as we would multiply whole numbers. So just multiply like normal. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 times 5 is 15. Plus 2 is 17. 3 times 1 is 3. Plus 1 is 4. 3 times 1 is 3. Next row, add a 0. Now we can start multiplying. 0 times 9. 0 times 5, 0 times 1, 0 times 1. 2 zeros for the next row. 0 times 9, 0 times 5, 0 times 1, 0 times 1. Now I'm going to add all these up. 7 plus 0 plus 0. 7 plus 0 plus 0. 4 plus 0 plus 0. 3 plus 0 plus 0. 0 and 0. Okay, so now I've got this number on here. So next it says, then place the decimal. So now we're going to figure out where the decimal point's going to go in our answer. In order to do that, we need to count the number of decimal places, and the product is the same number of decimal places in the factor. So what do I mean by that? Well, the factors are the numbers that we multiply together. So I'm going to highlight how many numbers we have behind the decimal. I've got this one, this one, this one. Those are all behind the decimal in the first product. The second product, I've got these two. So in all, how many numbers did I highlight? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 numbers behind the decimal point. So I'm going to start at the very end, and I'm going to go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is where our decimal point goes. So our answer is 0.03477. That is our answer. And if you don't put the 0 before the decimal point, that's fine. That's not a big deal. Okay, so just to review, when you're adding decimals, you must line up the decimal points. Okay, you must line up the decimal points. Okay, line them up, bring your decimal point down, and then add like normal. When you're multiplying decimals, you're going to line up your numbers. Act like those decimal points don't exist, okay? Line up the numbers just like you would for a normal multiplication problem. Your second number always goes as far right as possible. Then just multiply like normal, okay? We did our normal multiplication. We got our answer. But then to figure out where the decimal point goes, I counted how many numbers are behind a decimal point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I start at the very end, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, always start at the very end and move to the left. Okay, and that's where your decimal point goes. So that's how you multiply decimals.